If you want to play the best solos you can, you need the right tactics. So let's look at 7 of them and how they work in a funky blues situation. All right, so for most of these tactics, we're gonna be just playing over a 1-4 in C. So a C7 to F9, although this can be applied to a full blues, situation where there's that 5 chord as well. But just to make it kind of quicker and make it a little simpler, we're just gonna stick with this 1-4 in this fun, funky blues situation. So that first tactic is just playing what they call double stops. There's other names for it too, playing 2 notes at a time. So if you've got your minor pentatonic right there, you can just play 2 of those notes. And real common you hear like maybe like this, But I was throwing in this thing called the 6th right here as well. But these 2 notes, that's a little different. You don't hear that quite as often. And that is if you're playing that 4 chord, the F, right here, and you make it a 7th, these 2 notes right there. So a little harsh sounding. So that's just a way, if you have done this, but you haven't tried that specific way, try that to spice it up. And here's another way that you don't hear quite as often, a way of using double stops. So, again, you hear in this situation, you hear a lot, but this is now up in this position up high. I was just doing 2. I wasn't moving around a bunch here, just playing these 2. Here's our root, and then minor 3rd, 5th, and then give it a little bend. Right? And that's just a way of spicing up. So think about adding some double stops if you're not familiar with it. And if you are, try it thinking about different ways of doing it than you are used to. Now let's explore something that we actually just did, but we'll do a little bit more of it. So when we were doing this right here is what they call a 6. So tactic number 2 is adding the 6. So instead of just playing our minor pentatonic or the blue scale, but adding this note right here, that is the major 6, which is actually in the note of the 4 chord. It becomes the major 3rd. Not to be spinning out too much there here, but if you don't know that stuff, don't even worry about it. Just think about, hey, you can add that note right there. And it's such a great one to bend up to this note. It really kind of sweetens things up and gets you out of that kind of typical sounding blues scale stuff. Now this is one I call a Jimmy Page bends. Not because it's unique to him, it's just because I first learned about it like in some article, in some guitar magazine. I was like, ooh, that is so him. Big thing in blues, David Gilmour does this a lot too, just a lot of players do this, but I think of it as the Jimmy Page bends, I call it. So if you think about right here, back up to this position here, so you got your root on the 3rd string, and here are the other 2 notes, minor scale. You just go up 2 more right here, right? To the 5th scale degree, and just bend that. You can bend it. You can bend it real far. You can bend it all the way to this note here, right? So, and then you can bend it to that, and then you can bend this one to here, also down to there. Give this a little bend too. So a lot of bends. So the idea again, find that root, go up to here. And just, don't even worry about your bend tool right now too much if it's new to you. Just try bending around and getting familiar. It's really dramatic sounds. So that's why I worked well when the song, this track is kind of slowed down and stuff. Now this next one doesn't actually have anything to do with what notes you play. So forget, oh, what notes you playing, this and that. This is slowing down a lick. So, you're just going along, doing whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, but just try slowing it down. It adds such a cool dramatic effect and can kind of be surprising and stuff. So this next one is doing something a little different with the last tactic. So maybe you guessed it, it's the opposite, speeding up, right? So you're just going on. And that obviously creates this tension that just kind of keeps building. It wants to just explode it and release. So forget about, just, what notes you're playing, oh, this, that, learning licks, this and that, but try both slowing it down at times and speeding it up. And it just adds such a, just different dynamic and of way of approaching playing. And speaking of having a different approach to playing, sometimes you really just got to break out of the box. So now back to thinking about what notes you're playing, but forgetting about just the typical kind of blues scale minor pentatonic, and just play a chromatic climb, I call it. You just kind of, chromatic notes just means like every note in a row, whatever, just the chromatic scale. It's just all these notes, and I'm just playing, I don't even know what I did. I was just climbing up, doing whatever, and then, getting to that root or something. It really adds a lot of tension, just like speeding up a lick, just climbing up, doing whatever, just really breaks you out of the box of just playing blues scales and blues licks just over and over. Now, this last one I reserve for when I really want to take it over the top. So tactic number 7 is using octaves. So it's the same note, but just up another octave. It's like Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Right? And, where I just do it up here. And you can do it anywhere. You could say, like take this spot right here. Then put the note down here and mute this string in between. So C to C. And it really helps to be strummed fast and really can take it over the top. And these tactics can add so many more options to your soloing, but there's something even more fundamental to soloing in a blues style that B.B. King was the master of. So check out this video here where I show you what it is and how you can add it to your own playing so these tactics will really be the most effective.